All right, let's talk about intermittent fasting. Today, we're going to crack open the science behind it, but we're going way deeper than just calories and weight loss. We're diving into the invisible world of hormones to really understand how the timing of our meals sends these incredibly powerful messages all through our body.
For decades, the conversation has always been about what to eat. Low fat, low carb, vegan, you name it. But what if that's only half the story? The research we're looking at today asks this really fascinating question. Could the secret to better health be hidden not in our food, but actually in our clocks?
So think of your hormones as your body's own internal messaging service, right? They control pretty much everything from how hungry you feel to your mood, your energy, your metabolism. And when you practice intermittent fasting, or IF, you're not just giving your digestive system a break. No, you're fundamentally changing the messages being sent. So let's find out what they are.
Okay, first up, let's get into the big players in our metabolism. These are the hormones that really dictate whether we feel hungry or full of energy. This is where you're going to feel the most immediate effects of fasting.
Meet insulin. Its main gig is to help your cells soak up sugar from your bloodstream to use for energy. So, when you eat, your insulin levels go up. When you fast, they go down. And this is absolutely crucial because keeping insulin levels lower can improve your insulin sensitivity, and that is a massive marker for your overall metabolic health. Next, we've got the dynamic duo of appetite, leptin and ghrelin. Leptin, which comes from your fat cells, basically tells your brain, hey, we're full. Ghrelin, from your stomach, is the one that screams, feed me. Now, you'd think that fasting would just make ghrelin go totally wild, right? Well, the data suggests it's actually a little more complex than that. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. As you'd expect, fasting lowers insulin. No surprise there. But check out ghrelin. Some studies found that fasting was associated with lower levels of both leptin and ghrelin. This suggests that instead of just making you hungrier all the time, fasting might actually help recalibrate your body's fundamental hunger signals. It's less about a constant battle and more like a whole system reset. But the story doesn't just stop with metabolism, not even close. The hormonal cascade that starts with fasting, it ripples out, and it can influence our thyroid function and even our sex hormones. This is where the effects get really personalized and, frankly, pretty fascinating. And this table just brilliantly illustrates that there is no single simple answer for how IF affects the thyroid. I mean, in one study, patients with hypothyroidism saw their TSH levels, a key thyroid marker, actually go up during Ramadan. But in healthy adults, the change was minimal. It just goes to show you the impact is highly dependent on your starting point. This whole idea of context-specific benefits becomes crystal clear when we look at women with polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS. A major meta-analysis from 2023 pulled together all the data and found something pretty remarkable. For this specific group, the hormonal benefits of IF were significant and really wide-ranging. I mean, the results were impressive. The study showed IF helped reduce body weight and lower insulin resistance, which, we might expect. But it also helped rebalance key sex hormones. It decreased certain androgens, which are often too high in PCOS, and it increased a protein that helps manage those hormones. If you're trying to manage PCOS symptoms, this is a huge deal. So what about men? Well, here the picture is a little less clear. For instance, one study that looked at infertile men during Ramadan found hardly any changes to their testosterone levels. It's just a good reminder that our hormonal responses can be very different, and the science is still piecing together the full picture for everyone. So, this brings us to a really crucial point. Context is everything. You simply can't make a blanket statement that intermittent fasting is good or bad for hormones. The outcome depends entirely on who is doing it and how they're doing it. And the research points to several key variables. The type of fast matters a lot. The population matters. An athlete's hormonal response is going to be totally different from an elderly person's. Your existing health status is a massive factor. Heck, even the timing of your workouts can change the outcome. So let's just lay it all out. On one side, the research points to these really powerful potential benefits: weight loss, better insulin sensitivity, support for your heart and brain. But on the other side, you've got potential downsides like muscle loss and the fact that we really need more consistent long-term studies to confirm everything. It's a balance. So is there a unifying theory that kind of ties all of this together?
Well, one of the most compelling ideas out there is that intermittent fasting's main power comes from its ability to resynchronize our body's master clock, our circadian rhythm. Here's how the theory goes. Our modern 24/7 access to food can really disrupt our natural hormonal cycles. Fasting provides a clear, unambiguous off signal. It gives the body a dedicated period of rest, and that break allows our internal clocks to get back in sync with the natural light-dark cycle, which then helps regulate all those hormones we've been talking about.
And that's the really big idea here. By realigning our internal rhythms, we're not just tweaking one or two hormones. We are potentially influencing the entire endocrine system in a way that could reduce our risk for metabolic problems and other chronic diseases down the line.
And we actually have concrete data for this. One study on healthy adults during Ramadan found a 15% decrease in their morning cortisol. That's the body's main stress hormone. Now, this isn't just some random change. It is a measurable shift in a fundamental hormonal rhythm, showing that fasting can directly influence your body's master clock.
And all of this brings us to one final, really compelling question. As we uncover more about how fasting sends these powerful hormonal signals, it's pretty clear the whole conversation is shifting. The future of health might not just be about what's on our plate, but about the profound, personalized power of the clock. Thanks for tuning in.